bad situation. Yep, that was me. Sorry. You know, but now I know what to do for this next one.
Exactly.
It's taking responsibility for everything in your life, good or bad.
Because then you take control. If you can take responsibility for everything, then you have control over everything.
Yep.
And once you have control over everything, you realize that you can do anything you want because you're in control. You're the one driving the car.
Yeah. And people say, oh, well, you can't control everything. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Right. You can't control everything, but you can control everything that you do and that affects you and how it affects you.
Yes.
That's where it is. I mean, and it's funny because you say you can't control everything, because we say you can't control everything, but by you controlling you and everything that affects you, you are controlling everything.
You are controlling everything. Everything in your life. So people are saying that because there's extenuating things, you know, things on the outside that you literally can't control, like what somebody else thinks or what somebody else says.
Right.
But that's such a human epidemic, right? Because humans always want to conquer anyways. They always want to be in control of everything anyways. So that's a whole other ballgame. But that, in my opinion, that's where it changes. Because it doesn't matter where you go, what situation you're in, who you're talking to. When you could do that and take responsibility for you and your actions, it doesn't matter what happens, where, nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have power now. You're in control.
Right. Even if it's something that, you know, some random guy comes up to you and just totally chews you out for doing something. You can either get mad about it, or you can say, you know what, that's not worth my time, and I'm not getting mad about it. That's the choice, and that's the control.
Exactly.
And by choosing the latter, choosing to just blow the guy off to some crazy nut, then you don't even think about it for the rest of the day, and you move on.
Yeah.
And you're in control.
Yep.
Rather than if you let that get you down and ruins your day, you let that one crazy guy ruin your day.
Yep. And there goes your power. There goes all your energy is going to that, while life is existing everywhere else. You know, your kids, your wife, whatever it is, it's still going on. So they'll have lives and situations too.
Right.
But you're not there fully, because now whatever happened, you're still kind of there. You know? And so there's so many different avenues of this that can be alleviated when you take self-responsibility. And one of the things that sometimes is frustrating to me, but I'm observing it, is that the next level of that, when people will say, oh yeah, that was me. Yeah, I did that. But here's why.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. They take ownership, but yet they still lay blame.
Yeah.
And when you lay that blame, you need to realize, but I realized that I didn't have to react that way.
Yeah.
You know, I did that because of all these things, but I realized, and as you start doing that, all those other little things, they start to just leave your vocabulary. They start to leave your mindset, and you say, yeah, I did that, and I probably shouldn't have, but, you know, whatever.
And here's the thing, is like, I like doing that. For me though, I don't care if somebody else is like, oh Joe, that's awesome, you did that.
You don't do it for somebody else, you do it for you because
Yeah.
you're trying to be a better person.
Yeah, and plus, because I know, see, in my mind, I know, like, okay, if I take responsibility for this, then we get past it, now I can get over here because I need to get here. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that in my life, and it took me a while, but I understand it. And that's something that I want to help people with more. And here's the funny part about it, is like, a lot of people, again, the reason why, here's just an opinion. You know, we're talking about how if you have a piece of paper on the wall frame that says, I'm this guy, that's where a lot of people put stock into your expertise, right? Like, oh,
Right.
well, he's an expert because he's a PhD or he's got a BA or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
On the other side of that coin, it's almost like they would rather see those credentials because then they have an opportunity to blame somebody if something doesn't go right.
Like, he's the expert, he should have known better.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just another level, you're right? It's shifted in the responsibility is my point. So I'm saying, who cares about any of credentials, any of that stuff? Because it's your life. It's not your psychologist's life, not your psychiatrist's life, it's not your lawyer's life, not your buddy's life, not your garbage man's life, not the person at the grocery store. It's your life, not your wife, not your kids. It's yours. You're responsible for it. Like I always say, you come in by yourself, you're going to leave by yourself. You know, you're always with yourself. So when you can understand that and say, hey, the only thing I control is this, then it's like, well, yeah, bingo, it's your life. Now you have control of everything because it's yours.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's nobody else's. But a lot of people like to pick and choose when they're the pilot of themselves. Like, oh yeah, I'm the pilot of this ship because it's going good right now. But when it's going bad, well, yeah, my mom and dad, they punished me, and they were alcoholics, and they were crutch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you're literally naming the reasons why you have no power. You're telling me all the reasons why. In your mind and out of your speech, you may be saying, here's why, and you may want me to buy into your here's why. But all I hear is excuses of here's why.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all I hear. When people are like, oh, well, this, and that, that's why I did this. Like, I almost want to say, like, that's worse. Like, really? That's worse.
Right.
Because now you're saying that I literally am weak and I have no power and I was just strung along in this situation and unbeknownst to me, woe is me because this situation happened and it wasn't my fault because it's like, no, you were in that situation. You associate with that person. You were with them when they shoplifted. So yeah, you're going upstairs in the office to talk to the security guy because you were there too. And now you can't say, oh, well, it was just him. And they're, oh, really? Well, you were both there. So it's funny how that is, right? In the law, you can be an accessory to something.
Right. And
you're responsible for it, even if you didn't do it.
Yeah.
And it's forced, though, because it's the law, so it's forced, and you're cool with that. But then in regular life, you're like, well, I'm not forced, so I don't got to accept responsibility for it. It's like, well, yeah, but you kind of do. There's a balance here in just life in general.
Right.
Like, I feel that there's a balance that gets disturbed. When you hear people say, oh, when it rains it pours, well, yeah, because you're not fixing it. That's why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just letting things happen.
Uh-huh.